Appreciate it. We know this is a busy day for you. Do you have any information on this Green Line situation?
Well, this storm is coming as predicted. This is a blizzard that rivals the record books. So every situation that's occurring is to make sure that we're keeping people safe. The C branch there is running along with the existing traffic. So more to follow on that. But the key is about making sure if people need to use our system, we're going to get them there safely. It's not about adhering to schedules right now. It's making sure that our workers can do what they need to do. This blizzard is, as I said, record type storm. The winds over 70 miles an hour gusts could rival Category 1 hurricanes here. And because of that, there's a lot of trees that are down. There's poles that have been down. And this is very poor visibility. So our workforce, both on the MassDOT side, keeping our roads safe and keeping the system running on the transit side, they're out there well before this storm. They're out there right now, and they're assessing everything that we need to do to keep the system moving and allow essential workers to do what they need to do. But again, no one who doesn't need to be out should be out. This is one of those storms where even walking is a challenge.
So, Phil, let's talk about the T first, then we'll talk about MassDOT. What is the state of the system right now? Because it obviously needs to be relied upon for those essential workers who need to get where they're going, get to the hospitals and those types of places.
Well, the reason we're running an emergency service schedule, a reduced schedule today, is to allow us to be able to not only have headways where people can rely on the system, but the headways allow our workforce to get out and clear switches to address issues in a more timely manner and to keep people moving. That's the key here. We pre-position equipment, we pre-position workforce where we saw most challenges during the January storm. And that's the key going forward, making sure that we can allow these trains to move, our buses to move. But people need to also realize if they're going to be out, they need to give themselves ample time. The strong winds, poor visibility, again, is really a challenge for everyone, and we're going to do everything we can to keep the system going so essential workers can use it.
So, the MBTA is enough to oversee, but you're also keeping an eye on everything that MassDOT oversees. So any other big issues in terms of other means of travel? A number of flights canceled, obviously, people kind of stuck where they are. What's the latest update there?
Well, I will say this, people heeded the advice. The governor issued a state of emergency, and people are listening. People are staying off the roads. We are seeing some minor incidents on the roads, but our workforce, again, is out there really keeping the roads clear. One thing I will say, though, is because the heaviest snow is still to come, even after we plow these roads, they should be mindful that the snow is falling so fast that these roads will be covered again with snow in very short time. So, again, people should stay off. I know the municipalities are working as well around the clock. We're staying in close contact with them. Our supplies are right now strong, and I know we're going to support municipalities as much as we can. This is a long duration. We still have a long way to go. But again, I really thank the public for heeding the advice, staying home, and only being out if you have to be.
And Phil, let's talk about travel restrictions right now. There shouldn't be tractor trailers and those types of things out on the state's highways, right?
Absolutely. The commercial ban on non-essential trucks, commercial trucks, box cars, they are still restricted as of 5 p.m. yesterday, and that's ongoing right now. Tandem tractor trailers as well.
Yeah, I mean, we heard in Fall River they're extending travel bans. Are you thinking of extending this? This system seems to have stalled, so it might be snowing longer even than anticipated.
Right now, we are comfortable with our reduced schedule. The localities that may have some travel bans, everyone's seeing it a little bit different in the storm. The southern part of Massachusetts, eastern part of Massachusetts is getting the most snow totals, but across the whole state, there's significant snowfall rates. And again, it's the high winds, the poor visibility that really should limit travel and people have to heed that advice.
And Phil, one more public policy question for you, if I could. With your MassDOT hat on, and I know you're mostly responsible for highways, not local roads necessarily, but what's your advice for school superintendents here as we sit coming up on the midday hours of Monday? It's going to snow heavily for a good chunk of the rest of the day about school tomorrow. Do you expect this is going to take a couple of days for the region really to get back up and running?
Absolutely. You know, even after the January storm, and think about how much snow we've had since then, this is on top of it, right? And so we're still clearing snow for several days after this. And we saw from the last storms that that's going to be important to take into account. Your local roads may look good, but then you have to check where your destinations are on the whole route. I remember in the January storm, sidewalks still needed clearing. So people walking in the roads, that's not really recommended. What we need to do is to make sure that not only when the storm ends, give us, the state, the municipalities, that ample time to clear all of the system.
All right, Phil Eng, we really appreciate you taking time for us today.
Thank you.
Check back in later on this afternoon. Good luck, Phil. Stay safe.